Sailor the Piperman, Piper the Sailorman, in the middle of a storm here on the island of Puerto Rico. We have Fiona coming underneath the belly, the southern part of Puerto Rico, and it's going to rain. And they said on Sunday the possibility of losing electricity. I don't know. This is not the first time. It's not going to be the last time. The island nation. It doesn't have the technology that America has, or Europe. So we'll make do. Until then, I want to talk something very important, because I'm noticing more and more pipe smokers saying it. And it's this statement: Dr.Grabow are cheap pipes. Number one, how do they know that as a fact? Unless they've talked to the owners and the buyers at Dr. Grabow. Second of all, when you buy in large quantities, they're going to be good briar, grading, the different grades. Remember, one time there wasn't no such thing as different grades of briar until somebody came across and said, hey, let's grade them. And the whole purpose of grading was to charge more. So you put a grading system, hey, this is a 5 as to a 2, so therefore we're going to charge you more. What does grading have to do with a good smoke? It really doesn't. A piece of wood is a piece of wood. A piece of briar is a briar. All wood can be manipulated. All wood can be aged. And for a long, long time, Dr. Grabow pipes were not considered cheap pipes. That's been the last 30 years, 40 years. Oh, Dr. Grabow, the pharmacy pipes. So what? Most pipes were sold in market. I remember buying my first Wally Franklin pipe at a pharmacy. Pharmacy was an institution. You could buy a lot of things in there. Some pharmacies even had a soda jerk. I'm giving my age. They used to have a little side where you can get soda, Coca-Cola, ice cream, you know. And at these Rite Aid pharmacies, they don't sell Dr. Grabows. We talk about the mom and pop shops. We tend to call them pharmacies. Second of all, anytime you cut a tree down, it's expensive. And once you age the briar that you cut, it becomes even more expensive. You get me? So when somebody says it's a cheap pipe, take into consideration the labor that went into cutting down the heath tree, the labor it takes to let it age, the labor it takes to manually manipulate and make a pipe from it, and that people get paid, and that's people's work. You're going to call it cheap? You need to get off of that. That's somewhat slandering a company, Dr. Grabow, which established itself for over 50 years. And let's be more respectful. That's all I got to say about that. You know, we tend to say, oh, European pipes are better. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. For a long, long time, Dr. Grabow was using Algerian briar. You can check on that source. You can call them up. Any of the old timers, they still got some people still working there for 35, 40 years. They used to get it up because it was cheaper. Now, Algerian briar is hard to find. What does that do to it? The cost of that briar becomes more because It's not available. So based on availability, supply and demand, it shoots the prices up and down. The fact that Dr. Grabow decided to keep it within a reasonable price, I tip off my hat to them. Because they're not ripping anybody off. The fact that it's manufactured by machines, name me a pipe maker that doesn't use machines. Hard to come by. The time of hand carving pipe, I can make my own pipe, I hand carve the pipe and everything. It's not going to look anywhere near, especially now with the technology and the computers and everything. It's easier to make a pipe engineering wise and make it really nice. Now, if you're going to be talking about the grading system, you have to take into consideration what tobacco are you smoking, what stem is being used. Canadian pipe made by Dr. Grabow smokes just as good. Breaking in the pipe, coating, prepping your pipe is part of this whole process. It has nothing to do with how expensive a pipe is, that's on you. So please, let's stop the narrative. I'm really sick and tired of how they degrade Dr. Grabow. A lot of us smoke Dr. Grabow now because we can afford, a better pipe or an established pipe, an Ashton pipe. Let me tell you something. The name Dr. Grabow pipe was established for Ashton, was established before Upshur pipes, damn near close to Dunhill. There was a time Dunhill pipes and Dr. Grabow pipes could compete in the market. Now, that being said, what makes a good pipe smoke better? That's on you. What type of tobacco you use, how you treat the pipe, how you condition your pipe, and basically you can get a great smoke out of an Indian pipe made by hand or Dr. Grabow. So please, let's stop. I don't know. It's one of the few American companies left. Why are we degrading it? Why are we following another person's narrative when we ourselves have not investigated and really know what's going on? You've seen the documentary. They got a documentary, Dr. Grabow. People have been working there for years. Don't you think working there for years, their craftsmanship gets better? You ask for Duke pipe, it's hard to tell the difference between one Duke pipe and another Duke pipe. The fact that they keep it simple, that's the American way. That's the best way. Than to get all these fancy dancy pipes and trust me, I smoked over for 40 years. It was hard for me to find a good Dunhill pipe that smoked better than a Dr. Grabow. That's my editorial for today. Long live Dr. Grabow pipes. Sailor the Piper Man, Piper the Sailor Man. I had to put my 2 cents.